All right, thanks, guys. I was gonna actually open it up with some trance music, but I think I'll just. We were talking, so that's okay. I'll just launch right into it. Okay. So thank you very much, Ken, for the intro. Let me just share my screen, and we will turn this thing on. Okay. Oh, I gotta make your guys' face go away. Sorry, 1 second. Technical difficulty. Okay. Move it along. Awesome. Okay, thanks, guys. So, Lyconet. So I know there's no new people on right now, but I'm just going to pretend like you're all new because that's just how I'm going to roll through it. Okay. So I'm just excited to share this with you guys today. Obviously, if you've been invited, somebody really cares about you. Maybe you have some goals and dreams that you want to achieve, or maybe your friend really wants to work with you because they love you. Whatever the reason may be, thanks for coming tonight. And you should know by now that what you've been invited to is a business presentation. And what we're going to share with you is Lyconet, which is a shopping network. So our business is based on shopping, which is pretty awesome because our business is based on something that people do each and every single day. So what I want you guys to think about is what your goals are. So if money was no object, if you had all the money in the world and it wasn't a thing, what would your life look like in 5 years? And what would your life look like 10 years from now? What would you be doing? Who would you be spending time with? Where would you be going? I want you to think about those because those dreams can be a reality. The income earning potential in this business is limitless. It's really whatever you want and the amount of work that you're willing to put in to get there. So I want you guys to think about those things as we go through. Uh-oh, my computer's timing out. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, how many of you guys would like more time in your life? Probably a lot of you. Time is our most precious resource. And it's definitely something that we can't get more of. We can't buy it. We can't borrow it. So it is something that most people are definitely looking for more time. Now, of course, what we want to share with you in this business is that if you had the ability to buy your time back, to make an extra $1,000 a month so that you didn't have to work that second job, or maybe you would want to work, maybe you wouldn't want to work at all, and you made $100,000 a month. You know, it's really whatever it is that you're looking for. But I wanted to take the time to thank you for coming today because time is such a precious resource for us. Now, have any of you ever seen these numbers before? You're all muted, actually, I just realized. So the 40-40-40 plan is basically what most people are living their life right now. And that is working for 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% of their income. Now, when you were growing up as a kid, I'm sure that you didn't dream about going to school, getting a job, and retiring on 40% of what you made for most of your adult life. That is not something people think about, but unfortunately, that is the reality for most people because they don't know how to set money aside. They don't save money. Maybe they don't have savings, whatever the case may be, but most people do not have the ability to live the lifestyle of their dreams later. And this is really, really depressing. And it's a wake-up call because that's the reality of what it's like for most people. Now, the goal for tonight, of course, is that I want to share with you what's possible, what you can do for your life. And, think about those things that you thought about before, what you want to be in 5 years and where you want to go in 10 years. You can do that if you're willing to put the work in. And I'm going to share this vision with you, this company that has totally changed my life, rocked my world. And I am going to have the lifestyle of my dreams, which is traveling and raising my own kids and all these things because of this business. So I'm super excited to share it with you. And the neat thing about this company is that it's being built once. Once the infrastructure of the shopping community is built, then the work is done. So for those people who are working on building it, they are going to reap the rewards later. And whether you do that is totally up to you. Now, you guys probably missed the opportunity to build Facebook because you weren't invited. And you probably missed the opportunity to build Amazon. But you both know that those are global giants. And some people had the opportunity to build those and they did not. So what I want to tell you is that the opportunity with this company is of the same magnitude of those, but you actually have the chance to get a piece of it. Okay. So I'm just going to ask that people turn off their cell phones, put it in airplane mode, whatever, so that you can pay attention for the next little while, because what I'm going to share might actually change your life. So a little bit about me, can give a little brief introduction. So yes, I've been with the company for about 5 years. My background is actually in the pet industry. I love animals. Anyone who's been to my house, I know a couple of people have, it's full of creepy crawlies. And I do have one cat, which is normal, but everything else is crawly. And I love animals. And so I worked in the pet industry for 13 years, and my job was amazing. I talked to people about pets all day long. It was great. I was a leader. I was working all over Canada and helping people with pets. The problem is that my pay was atrocious. So I loved what I did. I was passionate about it, but I was never going to have the lifestyle of my dreams working in a pet store. It was just not going to happen. So fast forward a few years, moved to Fort McMurray. And of course, everyone knows that Fort McMurray, people make a lot of money up here. And so I started making 6 figures a year working reception. And it was fabulous. For the first 2 years, I was making all this money, blowing it on goodness knows what. It was great. But then after a while, I realized that I didn't like my job, and I was doing office work, Excel spreadsheets, day after day, day after day, day after day, day after day. So I realized, how am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I stuck here in this office doing this job that I really don't like just for money? It was really depressing because I really felt stuck, because it's very hard to leave that kind of money. And that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, was work this job that I hated. I just felt stuck and had no passion for what I was doing. So I had traded my passion for money, and I realized that that wasn't going to cut it, and that wasn't going to make me happy. And of course, my husband, he works a job up here and he hates it. So that wasn't very good. Now, luckily, somebody saved me from this fate, invited me to a presentation that you're going to see tonight. Well, it's similar. And shared this business with me, which absolutely rocked my world. It was love at first sight. And I realized that this is what I was meant to do. This is what I was going to do for the rest of my life, which is basically a business built on shopping. We do not sell anything, but we earn when people buy everything. So I get to help people make money. I get to help people save money. And it feels really, really good. And I love what I do, and I'm excited for the future. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's look at what life looked like back in the 1990s. All right. So back then, people, went to school and they worked for about 54 years and they died around 73. That was the average age. And things looked a lot different back then. So, people had one vehicle, one landline at their house. There was no cell phones, or maybe they had the big clunky ones back then. I'm not sure. And then one computer. So we didn't have as much technology back then, and things weren't quite as expensive as they are now. And one thing to point out back then is people had an average about 2.7 kids per family. And back then there was about 5 employees in the workforce compared to about 2 people coming or going into retirement. So we had a lot of money and people in the workforce that's supporting the pensions back in those days. Now, if we fast forward to 2019, people are going to school longer, they're working longer, and yay for us, we're living a little bit longer, which is great. However, it costs a lot more to live this day and age. So people have multiple vehicles per family. We have multiple phones. I'm not sure people have landlines anymore. Maybe they do, but I know people who have more than one cell phone. People have computers, laptops, Xbox, iPads, you name it. So technology is everywhere, and it costs a lot more to live. Now, the thing about it is, people are actually having less kids now, and there's less people going into the workforce this day and age because of all the job loss due to technology. So why does this matter? Well, it matters because there are less people going into the workforce and more people going into retirement. And it's unsustainable because we do not actually have enough money to support all the pensions for the people that are going into retirement in our future. So that's actually really, really scary. It's not sustainable. And also, a lot of countries are looking at increasing the retirement age to 69. So I don't know how you feel about working even longer, but that does not excite me in any way, shape, or form. So let's look at what it looks like for people when they do retire. Now, 10%, which is a very low number, of people actually retire and live the life. I'm talking about living the lifestyle, traveling, be with the grandkids, do what you want, sleep in, all that fun stuff. 54% of the population actually are completely dependent on the system. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're in a hospital bed, but it might mean that, you have to stay in a home, or you require a lot of drugs to stay alive, or whatever that means. And it means that it's very expensive to survive. It also means that if you want to be in the 10%, it's very expensive, and you have to put a lot of money aside in order to have that lifestyle. And if we look at what things look like for people this day and age, The sad fact is that most people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're living on credit. 54% of Americans are actually out of money before the month ends, like a week before it ends. And so most people are actually one financial disaster away from total ruin, because we're just floating it by, and that things are just really, really expensive. So the world is changing, and this is changes in the economy, inflation, technology is a huge problem. So what I'm going to do is just play a little video clip that's going to give you an overview of what's actually happening in the world today.
The world is changing faster than ever. What used to take decades is now taking years or even months.
What you see right now is the illusion that people have had for many decades about the workplace being this secure place to work the rest of your life.
For the first time in the history of our nation, our children will not do as well as us.
We've seen our friends get laid off. We've been laid off. We've had our pay cut.
People are overworked and underpaid. They seem to have less time and less freedom. They live under constant pressure.
This is going to be forced. And so even if your employer loves you, they may have to cut you.
There's something wrong that on Monday morning, the heart attack rate increases by 35%.
Technology is accelerating, job security is declining. It just doesn't seem like the old models of making a living are as reliable as they used to be.
Every aspect of our lives, there's a better way out there, but we're still doing it the old way.
We live in the greatest country on the planet, and there are a lot of people sitting around complaining and being cynical.
Like everyone's whining about this old model, and I'm like, why don't you leave it? Look at all this over here. Look at all this opportunity.
Since so much of our lives revolve around our work and the way we make our living, many people are thinking there just has to be a better way.
The biggest challenge facing our world today is not making money, is what are we going to do with all the displaced, unemployed people?
People are afraid that they're going to make the wrong decision. People are afraid of the unknown. People are afraid that maybe I don't have the skills.
Hey, sports fans, industrial age is over. It's dead. It's dying. That's why going to school to get a job is an obsolete idea. A steady paycheck is an industrial age idea.
Okay, so I bet that resonated with a lot of people, but that is the reality. There is a better way to deal with what's happening in the world today, and that's partially what we're sharing with you today. Now, so technology, most jobs, like people that are working secondary jobs to get by, a lot of these jobs are going to be replaced by technology. So cashiers, probably the biggest one. 97% of cashiers are going to have their jobs replaced in the near future. And you guys know this is true. You go to Walmart, you go to your local grocery store, and they've got self-checkout tills. So at what point are they all self-checkout tills? And of course, waiters and waitresses, right? These guys can also be replaced with technology. If you ever go to McDonald's this day and age, they have the checkout things at McDonald's now too. So they just have the people working in the back. But at what point do those people working in the back become robots? It's just a matter of time. And of course, taxi drivers, they have Uber drivers that are cars that are driving themselves. So this is really, really scary to think about what's actually happening. Now, a lot of people turn to network marketing, which actually network marketing is probably the best way for the average person to build an extra money, residual income on the side with low risk and high gains. Now, the most popular are actually direct selling companies. So they're selling candles or vacuums, creams, spices, whatever. Now, the problem with these companies is that, number one, in the US alone, they have about 1,900 new MLMs, multi-level marketing companies, that come in